What's good, guys? Welcome to the introduction to my newest series. This is Pokemon Leaf Green Randomizer Wedlocke. So, yeah, this should be a lot of fun. Usually after I do a main game, I usually do a hack. But I don't really feel like doing a hack right now. I really just feel like doing something different. And I've done a Wedlocke before, as you guys know, with Pokemon Emerald, if you watched it. If not, then this video will be great, because I can explain to you the rules of the Wedlocke if you've never seen it before. So, yeah. Randomizer, I've never done before. Leaf Green, I've never done before. I have played it, like, not on the channel or anything, but, yeah, I haven't played it on the channel before. So, taking two new things, taking one old thing, rubbing it all together, and getting a new series all together with it. So, yeah, better go over the rules and stuff, other things that you guys may know. For example, some of you may not know what a randomizer is. So, a randomizer is when you use a program to randomize the encounters you get on your Pokemon journey. For example, on Route 1 you can catch two Pokemon, Pidgey and Rattata. However, when you randomize encounters, you can find any Pokemon from Generation 1 all the way up to Generation 3, legendary Pokemon included. However, because I'm doing a Wedlocke, I won't be catching any legendary Pokemon due to one of the key rules in a Wedlocke. And this will probably lead to you guys wondering, what is a Wedlocke? Well, a Wedlocke is a variant of the well-known Nuzlocke challenge. It follows the same primary rules as the Nuzlocke challenge, but with a few more stipulations to add more of a challenge to the Nuzlocke format. First, we'll go over the basic rules of the Nuzlocke, which, as you guys know, I just finished a Platinum Nuzlocke, but we'll go over the rules again anyway for those who have never seen this before. So, rule number 1 in a Nuzlocke is if a Pokemon faints, it must be either put in the PC to never be used again, or released. Pokemon that have fainted are considered dead and cannot be used ever again. So basically, you could have a really high level Pokemon, we'll just say, like, for example, level 50 Charizard, we'll just say, and, you can face off against a tough opponent, you could get critical hitted, and your Charizard faints. Pretty much, your Charizard has to be either put in the PC, and never taken out again, or released, and, yeah, it just can never be used again, it's gone, you have to replace it with something else, which can really make or break a playthrough, really, or even just going through the game by yourself, because, I mean, you could lose your strongest Pokemon, and that could suck. So, yeah, you've gotta be very careful when doing a Nuzlocke, like knowing when to heal up and stuff like that. Rule number 2, you can only catch the first Pokemon you see in a route. So, for example, if I run into a Meowth on a certain route that I haven't caught something before, I must catch that Meowth. Dupe's Claws allows you to catch a different Pokemon if you have captured a Pokemon, or if you've already captured the first thing you've seen, or a member of its evolutionary chain, so you don't have a team of the same things. So for example, we'll just go over the Meowth again. So, I run into a Meowth, but I've already caught a Meowth. That means I don't have to catch the one I've run into, and I can look for something else to catch. So, yeah, that's basically what Dupe's Claws is. If it's in its evolutionary line too, you can do it that way. So for example, if I run into a Persian instead of a Meowth, but I've already caught a Meowth, or if I've caught a Persian already and I run into a Meowth, because it's a randomizer, so I could do it that way, I don't have to catch the Meowth, because I already have the Persian, which is a member of the evolutionary line. So yeah, it just saves me having the same bunch of Pokemon over and over again. So next up, we have rule number 2 of the Nuzlocke challenge. It's a little bit different in the Wedlocke challenge. The purpose of the Wedlocke is that your Pokemon are a couple together. I'm going to be playing with the traditional Wedlocke rules of a male and female couple, but if you'd like to play with gay and lesbian rules, by all means, go ahead. The difference with the encounter rules are, if you have an odd number of Pokemon, for example, just your male starter Pokemon, the first Pokemon you catch on a route must be a female Pokemon. If you have 2 females and 1 male, the next Pokemon you catch must be a male. So, once you have an even number, you can catch any gender you want. Because I'm playing under the traditional rules, my partnerships will all be male and female. So basically what I'm saying is, you have a male starter Pokemon, right? And you go to Route 1. Well, you must catch the first female Pokemon you find. If you find a male Pokemon, you can go around and look again until you find a female. So, yeah, you have to catch the opposite gender depending on the rules you're playing. As I said, I'm playing under traditional rules, so, yeah. If I would go with a male starter Pokemon, I have to find a female Pokemon to partner it. It doesn't have to be on that route. I can go to a different route and catch it there, but that also wastes my encounter for that route. So, yeah, I gotta really be careful, or I gotta, like, decide on what I want to get, which I can't really do that in a randomizer, so, yeah. It's all up for grabs, really. Rule number 2 is that genderless Pokemon cannot be captured. If you run into a genderless Pokemon, it doesn't count as your first encounter, and you can try to catch another Pokemon. Legendary Pokemon cannot be used due to the fact that all legends in this game are genderless. So yeah, all legendary Pokemon from Generation 1 all the way up to Generation 3 are all genderless, which means they cannot be used. So yeah, I wouldn't be using them anyway because that'd be sort of breaking the game a little bit by using a legendary so early on in the game. They're kind of overpowered, so it'd probably be better not to use them anyway if you're playing. Rule number 3 of the Nuzlocke and the Wedlocke is that all Pokemon you catch must be nicknamed. This is to create a better bond between you and your Pokemon, as well as giving them some characteristics and personality, instead of just being the Pokemon that happened to be caught on that route. So yeah, I'll be nicknaming my Pokemon. I'm kind of deciding whether or not I'll go with a naming theme, or I'll just name them random things like I usually do, but I'll probably have a decision made by the time I start up the series. So now that I've covered the Nuzlocke rules, let's move on to the Wedlocke rules, because what I've done is pretty much covered the Nuzlocke rules with the rule number 2 of the Wedlocke. So the Pokemon you catch are put into pairs. Depending on what kind of way you're playing the Nuzlocke or the Wedlocke, if your starter is male, then the next Pokemon you must catch, or the next Pokemon you catch must be female to complement that pair or complete that pair. Take in mind that as of the Nuzlocke rules, you must catch the first Pokemon you see on a route. If you don't get that, you don't get anything unless you've already caught that Pokemon or a Pokemon in its evolution line before. Because of the Wedlocke rules, the gender of the Pokemon you catch must be a gender you are missing if you have an uneven number of Pokemon. If you have an even number, you're able to catch whichever gender. You can continue to search until you find the gender needed. So basically, the rule that you must catch the first thing you see is kind of nerfed a little bit in the Wedlocke, in the fact that if it's not the right gender, you can continue to look. But if it is the right gender, you have to catch it, or you don't have to catch it, but that is your encounter, so you can't catch anything else if you don't catch it. So, rule number 2 is you can only switch between the Pokemon that are in the same pair. For example, my starter Pokemon and the Pokemon I catch on the first route are known as Pair 1, and the 2 Pokemon I catch on the following routes are known as Pair 2. In battle, I can only switch between the Pokemon in Pair 1 and not the ones in Pair 2. So if I were to do a battle, I'd have to select which pair I want to use for that battle. So we'll make an example here really quick. For example, say I have, we'll just pick a random Pokemon because it's a randomizer. We'll go with Meowth again. Okay, so I have a Meowth. And we'll just say, for example, its partner is a Pikachu. So, if I was doing the battle, I'd only be able to switch between Pikachu and Meowth. And we'll just say I had another pair too, I had Geodude and Onix. Just picking random things, I just picked those because like they're Brock's Pokemon, but yeah. So I could not switch between Meowth and Onix. I'd have to switch between Meowth and Pikachu, or Pikachu and Meowth. I can't switch with Geodude or Onix unless I'm using Geodude or Onix in the next battle, so I can switch between those two. Hopefully that makes sense and I explained it correctly, but if it doesn't, then I'm sorry. Yeah, I think I explained it correctly though. So rule number 3, if a Pokemon in a pair faints, it must be replaced by something in the PC with the correct gender. For example, if a female Pokemon of pair 2 faints, or if the female Pokemon of pair 2 faints, it must be replaced by a female Pokemon. If that cannot be done, the Pokemon of pair 2 cannot be used until it has a new female partner, unless the other pairs in the party faint, and it's the last Pokemon I have left. So, if you don't have a pair, you can't be used, but that does, well yeah, it does count if you just caught the Pokemon, because you do need it to be in a pair to use it. So, we'll say again, for example, Meowth and Pikachu are my 2 Pokemon I have. I go to the next route, catch that Geodude that we mentioned before, but I can't use it until I catch something to pair with it. For example, that Onix, we'll say I catch on the next route after that. So, once I have that Onix, I can use Geodude and Onix, as well as Meowth and Pikachu. So that's just the way the Wedlocke goes. Pokemon in your party cannot be deposited and must remain in your party until they faint. However, you should none of your Pokemon be able to learn a certain HM to advance with the game, and something in your box can, you're allowed to replace it to use said HM, but must return it to your party as soon as possible. So, basically, if you have a Pokemon, or if you have Pokemon in your party that cannot learn Surf, but something in your PC can, then you can take that Pokemon out, use it for Surf, but as soon as you get to the next Pokemon Center or next computer, you must put that Surf Pokemon back in the PC and get the original member of the pair out. So rule number 5 is you can use the experience share to level up your Pokemon even if they are not in the same pair as the Pokemon that you are using. You cannot use the switch out technique to level up Pokemon and switch to another pair. If you use this method, you must switch into the Pokemon's designated partner. So basically, I could be using Meowth and Pikachu. I can give the experience share to Geodude, but I can't put Geodude at the front and switch out into Meowth or Pikachu. I have to switch out into Onix, because that's the way the rules go. So yeah, you can't do the switcheroo thing, I always call that, but you can't do the switch around technique like that. So if I wanted to do this, that sort of leveling up Pikachu, I'd have to put Pikachu at the front, and then switch out to Meowth. I can't switch to Geodude, I can't switch to Onix, it's only Meowth. So hopefully that's makes sense again to you guys, and hopefully I've made enough sense with this all together. New Pokemon that are caught are sent to the PC automatically, are not considered deposited, so don't worry about that. They are also not paired with any other Pokemon and can be used as a replacement for a fallen Pokemon in your party. It can also be used to form a new pair with something else in the PC, should you lose a pair. So, that's pretty much the rules of the Wedlocke, and yeah, that's a lot of stuff covered there. So, in the case of a double battle, should one member of your pair faint, you should switch into the same gender Pokemon from another pair as the one that is still alive on the field. For example, if the male Pokemon of pair 1 faints, you switch into the female Pokemon of pair 2. The reason for this is you have 2 females that don't make a pair, and thus you keep pair 2 alive. Should the Pokemon of pair 2 faint, if you switch into the other members of pair 2, so that you have a new pair between the surviving gender of pair 1 and the surviving member of pair 2. Should both survive the battle, you'll have a new pair between those two. So basically, we'll use the old Meowth, Pikachu, Onix, Geodude thing again. So, alright, so we have Pikachu and Meowth on the field. Meowth faints, we'll just say Meowth is the male. So Meowth faints. I must switch into the female of pair 2, so we'll just say that's Onix. So you have Pikachu and Onix on the field. Onix faints, which means we switch out into, well, we'll just go with the Onix stays alive whenever, and Pikachu stays alive. So that means that we win the battle whenever. That means I cannot use Pikachu until I catch a new male Pokemon to partner it, and Onix and Geodude remain the pair. But for example, if Onix dies, or Onix faints during the battle, then I switch in Geodude and Pikachu become the new pair. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, I've been saying that the whole time. I'm pretty sure it should make sense. Hopefully I'm explaining everything correctly and stuff. So, if you're hit by Whirlwind or Roar, then you must use the pair that was switched into battle because of it. You cannot use Baton Pass to switch between pairs. So again, Pikachu, Meowth, Onix, Geodude. We have Meowth on the field. Something uses Whirlwind. Brings me on to Geodude. I must use Geodude and Onix instead of Meowth and Pikachu, like originally intended. So that one's pretty straightforward. I don't think there's a lot of explanation in that one. So, let's go over the rules one more time, just so you guys make sure you have everything taken in and stuff and I've explained everything correctly. So rule number 1, fainted Pokemon must be released. Rule number 2, you can only catch the first Pokemon you find at a route with the correct gender if needed. Rule number 3, you can only switch between Pokemon that are in the same pair. Rule number 4, you must nickname your Pokemon. And rule number 5, the most important of all, have fun and enjoy yourself. So, that's pretty much all the rules gone over and stuff. And yeah, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this Pokemon Leaf Green Randomizer Wedlocke. I'm not the greatest at videos like this, so I probably screwed up a lot, so I apologize. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you guys for the start of the Pokemon Leaf Green Randomizer Wedlocke. See you guys then.